Welcome to Membership Voice. I'm Caro O'Shea, the coordinator of The Voice and the host for this evening's webinar. A special welcome to tonight's presenters, and tonight we have Dave and Robii Harmon from the Rotary Club of Ballina-on-Richmond. So, hi Dave and Robii, how are you going?
Hi everyone, good, thank you, Caro. How are you?
Fantastic. Okay, at this stage, it's important for me to acknowledge the Wadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm hosting tonight's webinar. I acknowledge the strength of their continuing culture and offer my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Now for tonight's presentation, How to Grow Your Club Impact, to be presented by Dave and Robii. So over to you, please, Dave and Robii.
Right, thank you, Caro. Thank you. And hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. And thank you, Caro, for this opportunity to present our Membership Voice again. It's really lovely to be here. And I'd like to acknowledge the Bundjalung Nation and the custodians of the lands where we live and work, and the connection that Bundjalung Nation has to our land and rivers and ocean in the north coast of New South Wales. Thank you. So I'm Robii Harmon. I'm here with my husband, immediate past District Governor Dave, and we're both very proud members of the Rotary Club of Ballina-on-Richmond in District 9640 on the far north coast of New South Wales. So we will share our lived experience of transforming our club from a club that worked for community to one that now works in community. And Dave will share his experience as our club president over 2 years and how our club grew its membership and began its transformation. This is a multifaceted presentation with several takeaways that we hope will help you and your club connect with your community. And it is a lived experience story on the transformation of the Rotary Club of Ballina-on-Richmond, connecting with the cause that is occurring in every street, in every town, across our country and others, dramatically increasing not only our club, but Rotary's public image, and collaborating and partnering with many and varied organisations at a local, state and national level, and achieving relevance in our town and many others and cities throughout our zone, and cemented our club's identity that has proven attractive for community members to come along and join our Rotary Club. So over to you, Dave.
Thanks, Robii. It's interesting when we look at what we do in Rotary, and our club back in 2018, 2019, we made a conscious effort to connect with Rotary's action plan, because if you take the time to actually look at Rotary's action plan, it is well devised and it has a lot of merit, because Rotary's action plan is all about creating impact. And I wonder, when we look at what we do in our Rotary clubs, when you have a look at what service projects you work on, are you actually creating impact? So this is what our club tried to transform into a club that created impact and action. So Rotary's action plan, I'll just go back. Sorry, I've just I went to go back, and I'll just go from the beginning again. Sorry about that. My clicker's not working. So when you look at our campaign of domestic and family violence, when it first started back in 2019, it was just a local cause where the club just wanted to get out and raise awareness and advocate against domestic and family violence in our town. But what was really interesting, as it evolved, as the campaign evolved, we realised how much we could expand our reach, enhance both our member engagement and also our community engagement. Also, our club adapting to what is relevant in our town and in all towns throughout our zone, and expanding our reach. So, Robii,
before we go any further, Dave, can you talk about impact in relation to how a Rotary Club might have input and output that then results in impact?
Thanks for bringing me back online. It's very true. If we look at, for example, if we're doing a barbecue at Bunnings, like our club does many of those every year, We have input where we go out and we buy the sausages and the soft drinks and everything else that goes into doing the barbecue. And then from that effort, we have output. And the output is that we raise funds. We raise money from that barbecue. So from those funds, what does your club or what does our club do with those funds? Do we then donate that to another organisation in our town, like the surf club, SES, all great organisations. Great organisations.
Absolutely.
Or do we put that into a project or a campaign that our club works on internally with our community, and then Rotary, our Rotary club and Rotary in general, creating impact? Because when you think about it, by giving the funds we've raised to an outside organisation, that's not going to create impact or action to Rotary or our club. And will that help build our profile in our town? Will it help bring members to our club by giving those funds away? So part of our transformation in our club back in 2019 is to move away from being a fundraising club to a club that connected with community, with causes that were relevant in our town. And that is what has dramatically raised our public image. So it was about that shift.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, Robii.
No, leave it there. Oh, yeah, I just need one click. Thank you. So I'm now going to pose some questions that you might like to consider. So firstly, do we agree that our Rotary clubs have more work to do to increase their relevance? And secondly, is what we've been doing working, or do we need a fresh approach? And thirdly, are our members engaged in meaningful service? And think about, is your community involved and part of your projects? And do your members, can I have another click, please?
Yeah, sorry, Robii, I went to sleep.
Thank you. Do your members work in your community or work for your community? So just something to consider there.
So back in 2019, what Robii and I did when we decided we wanted to make a difference in our town with regard to domestic and family violence, make our town a safer place for women and children especially. So what did we do? What was the first action we took? What did we do? Well, we spent 3 months going around to different organisations around the Northern Rivers, speaking to them, finding out where Rotary fitted best, what Rotary could do to make a difference. And the overwhelming feedback we got is Rotary is a connection to community. And if Rotary can get out there, raise awareness and help educate our community about domestic and family violence, that would be fantastic. Because when we talk to police, we talk to education, we talk to health and many other
and the DV agencies.
That was the overwhelming feedback we got. So from that, we come up with the campaign that we've been running now for the last 6 years. So today or tonight, we will share with you the how, who, what, why, when of this campaign. And I'm not sure how many of you have seen the toolkit that we've produced that was sent out to all clubs last year. There will, yes, but there will be an update sent out soon. But in that toolkit, that has all the links in there that you will need to help you plan and activate a campaign. And I can share that with any of you that would like me to email that to you later on.
Great resource.
It's a great resource, and it totally tells the story. So if we look at our club and we look at how we approach what we do in our club and our community with regard to service, campaigns and projects, it's interesting to change the thought process. The first thing we need to do is to see things a bit differently and think a bit outside the square and think about what our community would like from us. Not so much what we think the community would like, but what they actually need. And that is what we did. We very much looked outside the square to what our club had traditionally been involved in, and we very much got out and asked the community what they would like us to do. And that was very much the motivating factor for us to get involved with this domestic and family violence campaign.
Completely different way of thinking. How we traditionally did things.
Very much so, and we can share. The transformation did involve, making some subtle changes to the way our club operated. For example, the way our finance was governed. We very much got rid of the checkbook and changed our banking structure. Issued credit cards to those in our club that required them to make life easy for them to go out and do their job. We got rid of some of the rituals we have in our club, like fine sessions and others, and we changed our meeting frequency, reduced the amount of meetings we have, made our meetings a lot less structured as far as reporting and so on goes, to make them more fun,
a bit more educational,
with great speakers and so on. So they were little subtle changes, but those small steps took a while to get through. There was some resistance, but over time that resistance did fade. So there were small steps, but we did celebrate the steps as we got through them. And I would very much say to you that if you do go along this path of transformation, please do celebrate any little progress you make. So yes, we did achieve some great outcomes with our club going back to 2019 into 2021, where we grew from 36 to 33 to 76 members. And last year we hit 88 members, and today we still have 88 members. So we've been there for a while now, 6 years that we're still growing, and that's an indication that our club is fun, but we are connected to community and we are relevant with what we do, and our members are engaged, which is so important. And you can see there that, yes, we had a few drop-offs in 2022-23. Last year we had a president that worked very well as the governor last year. I had
some incentives.
I have a passionate about membership, and our president was very keen to grow our club, and we grew by 16 members last year, and we're still holding that. So this can happen when you make membership a priority and you connect with a cause, you connect with a campaign and projects that connect with community. And a big plus and positive to this is the collaboration and partnerships that have been formed.
Yep.
And also the public image that has come out of this campaign. So Robbie and I, it's interesting when we talk about transformation, we talk about taking little steps and, not trying to sort of change a club in 6 months or in 1 year, that you need to take little steps. Robbie and I took a few hockey teams over to Europe in January this year on a hockey tour. And we were at the Belgium Academy for Hockey, where the men and women's national team trained. And we walked in there and took the teams we were coaching for a tour through that facility. And there's an Australian that runs that facility, Adam Commons, that was at Kookaburra. And they started their transformation to become competitive in the world of hockey 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, they could not even qualify for the Olympic Games. When I walked into this facility, I saw on the wall, the first thing I saw was there's no elevator to success, and I loved it.
And you had to climb.
You have to take the stairs.
Really steep.
And I thought, how good is that? That message is just so relevant. And it took them 15 years to become competitive. They won the gold medal in Tokyo. They become world champions. Now the rest of the world are trying to catch up with Belgium. So that's just a little, takeaway there that, transformation is possible. Any Rotary club can transform if people in the club want to do it. And we can be the Belgium. We all can be the Belgium. So when we look at, as I was saying, if we look at your Rotary club and if you're thinking about, becoming more relevant, building your identity in your town, trying to be more attractive to your community to bring members in. It's just one step at a time. It's no good looking at the end goal. Just try and just take it a step at a time. Back when I was president in 2019, I very much looked at those goal-setting targets where I did set specific goals. I made them so I could measure them, but they were attainable. I believe they were attainable. They were relevant and they were timely. So in that year as president, 2019, they're the core business objectives that I set myself. They're not that hard. They're not that difficult. But one thing I did do is I made myself aware that 80% of my effort in that year, of those 2 years as president, would be about building the club and working internally in our community for our club, not getting too mixed up with all the emails from Rotary International and all the admin that comes in. I really wanted to work on transforming our club. And you can see number one was focus on local causes. And it's interesting as throughout my Rotary journey, especially over the last couple of years, and as Robbie, you would attest, when we go out and we ask younger people, say the under 40s, what interests them, what would bring them to Rotary, what are their passions in public service, they will say social justice and the environment. And social justice being domestic violence, mental health, homelessness, and of course the environment. So if we're not giving that, if we're not providing that avenue for members of our community to get involved, they're not going to come. We have to have something to offer them that is relevant. And domestic violence was the one that we went with. We've done a lot of work in our town on mental health as well. But domestic violence was the one that seemed to really connect.
Touched us personally.
And did touch us personally. That's true, Robbie. But as I say, the impact and the public image in our town, we've had 2 buses. You can see one bus there that's been driving around the Northern Rivers for the last 12 months. And it's got dual branding on there with tri-branding, state government, New South Wales Police and ballina-on-richmond Rotary. That I still look at that and I'm amazed that that's going around our Northern Rivers. The signage on that and what that does in our community to promote our Rotary Club is amazing. So just a very short video here, and this was played 2 weeks before our walk in Ballina last year on both Prime and NBN, and it didn't cost a lot of money, about under $3,000 for that 2 weeks, and it was running every night. It was amazing, the profile again that this provided.
Join in the Ballina Community Walk, Friday, November 29. Be the voice of change. Say no to domestic and family violence. Starting from the Ballina Visitor Information Centre, followed by inspiring keynote speakers. Break the silence and end the violence.
So when we look at how this campaign has evolved over the last several years, the relationship that our Rotary Club was able to build with local police really cemented this cause in our community. This is an example of what's out the front of our police station in Ballina every year. We have that sort of what do we say? That's a
Public display.
Display. Sorry, Robbie. Static display. That's what I was looking for. That remains there for the 16 days of activism each year. And that relationship that we built with our local police enabled Rotary to have a table with the Deputy Commissioner in Sydney 2 years ago, and our local superintendent, Scott Tanner, invited 2 of our members to Sydney to pitch to New South Wales Police of what we do in Ballina, and if New South Wales Police would be interested in taking that throughout the state. And that was the catalyst to a 3-year formal MOU with New South Wales Police. So I've been working with Queensland Police for the last couple of years, trying to get it over the line with Queensland Police as well. So Again, this is an example of this campaign, connecting with community, this whole community approach we have in Ballina. That's what very much what police are really wanting to take out further throughout, not just New South Wales, but throughout Australia. So yes, we do close our main road in Ballina for our walk. And, and it's a fair comment. People will say to you or me, what do you think you achieve out of a walk? Well, what you achieve out of a walk is you do raise a lot of awareness. It gets domestic and family violence front and centre. It does provide victims of domestic violence with they feel supported, heard, believed, validated. But the walk is just one little part of what we're about. But also you can see what it does is we have our high school there, we have our primary school, we have a lot of different community members. We have roughly on this walk last year, we had 800 people walk with us. It brings the community together. And what it does for our Rotary Club is very much raise our profile. Very much. It does raise our profile. You see the purple shirts there, front and centre, Rotary branding. The amount of phone calls we get every week. Every week we're getting phone calls from people wanting to know more about the campaign, wanting to come to our club, hear what we're about. There's a very successful walk in Sydney that I attended last year from Randwick to Coogee. Well over 1,000 people walk on that. That's run by the Randwick Council. So Rotary doesn't have to do any work in Sydney to get this up and running. The council does it all. In Ballina, our Rotary Club organises and funds our walk. To give another example of the reach, about expanding our reach and building partnerships, it's the first time in Rotary's history in Australia that we've had a campaign launched at Parliament House in Canberra. So in 2023, it was launched in Canberra. We have tripartisan support. Michaela Cronin, who's just in the background of one of those photos, the Commissioner, Australian Commissioner for Domestic Violence, is 100% on side with what we're doing. She loves the branding we have, 100% supports what we're doing. The Assistant Minister for Domestic and Family Violence, Justine Elliott, has worked very closely with what we're doing. So what we're doing is relevant, and it is timely, and it is valid. So the other thing that's really took this campaign to the next level, and to just give you a little bit of background history, is what we call Purple Friday. Now in Ballina, we have 9 corporate members of our Rotary Club, and one of the corporate members is Cherry Street Sports Club, which is a bowling club in Ballina, and they also have a bowling club in Lennox Head. And in Christmas 2023,
Christmas 22-23.
The CEO of the club talked to Robbie and I and said, look, what about our staff? We love your purple shirts. They have 70 staff. Our staff, we will wear those shirts all over the Christmas New Year period just to get that message out. So we supplied 70 shirts to the club, and they wore those shirts for 2 months, and the response from the community was 100% positive. It was very positive. So after that time, we met again with the CEO, and we sort of brainstormed and said, what's the next step? How can we now take this to the next level? From that, the Purple Friday campaign come up. And the way that works is the bowling club, through the gambling revenue and tax they need to pay, they did a club grant with our club for $25,000, and we were able to purchase 1,000 purple shirts. We put it out on social media. What businesses out there would like to be part of our campaign and wear these purple shirts every Friday of the year? Your business, all your employees. In 2 weeks, we had 80 businesses sign up, and today we have over 100 businesses that are part of this campaign. That includes local high school staff, primary school staff, doctors' surgeries, council chambers, retail, hospitality, tradies, they're everywhere. If you come to Ballina on Friday, you will definitely see our purple shirts. And again, this is public image at its best. We can't pay for that sort of advertisement, if you like. But more than that, it's about the cause. And the conversations that these purple shirts start on Fridays is amazing. On one Friday afternoon in one hairdressing salon, there were two ladies come in and getting their hair cut, and the hairdressers had the purple shirts on. And the ladies opened up and said, I've never told anyone about this, but I'm a current victim of domestic violence. I'm experiencing it now, and it starts the conversation. Here's a few photos. Ballina Coast High School, proudly wearing their purple shirts every Friday. We have the doctor's surgery up there on the top right. Retail. The bowling club, they have a lot of their bowlers wear those shirts. So a question that I do over the years, I have been asked quite a bit is, what do you think you're trying to achieve, Dave? And where's your KPIs? And how can you measure your success? I think, okay, domestic violence is a tough one, especially if you compare it to drink driving, you compare it to seatbelts. It takes many, many years to bring about a change, like cultural change like that in a community.
In behaviour.
In behaviour. But what's really interesting, you look at the statistics from Ballina, from police, on domestic and family violence over the last couple of years. What's really interesting when you look on the screen and you look what happened last year in 2024 of victims that had previously reported domestic violence, there was a 48% increase in those women experiencing domestic violence re-reporting. Now, when you talk to police about that, they said, Dave, there's nothing like this happening in the state anywhere. Like, to have a 48% increase in re-reporting of cases is very, very, very unusual. And we can put this down to the whole of community approach that we have in our town, where, the purple shirts, the walk, the other support that we give to the Women and Children's Refuge and other activities we do, the safe phones. Ballina is a far better educated and aware town with domestic and family violence than it was 6 years ago. And there's no doubt that this has played its part. So for us, I hope in years to come, we can say we've seen a decrease in domestic violence. But certainly today, I'm very, very proud to stand up and say we've had an impact in creating more reporting. So that is a measurable outcome. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, this is playing up tonight. I'm sorry, it doesn't want to move forward on me. Just bear with me. It must be our computer. Okay. All right, I think there are a few more slides to show, but I think I'll stop sharing now and we'll open it up to discussion. So I'm sorry about that. There's something going on with the computer here. What we were going to share is there's like me having an engineering sort of brain is when I look at membership, I think it's about having relevance in your town. And there's a basic formula that I was going to share with you that I have on a screen. But if you have relevance in your town, you will have an identity. And if you have an identity, you have something to sell, something to market in your town. And that's what our club, that's how our club has transformed. We very much do have an identity. And if you walk through Ballina or around the Northern Rivers and you talk about the Ballina-on-Richmond Rotary Club, they will say, they did great work in the flood recovery. They do amazing work with domestic and family violence. This campaign now, only yesterday I was on a Zoom with Senior New South Wales Police, And this morning I was in contact with Queensland Police. In this next Rotary year, coming into November, December, we will have the theme we will be working with will be youth, how children, the innocent bystanders of domestic and family violence. That will be the theme we'll be working with. And we're approaching at senior level, approaching high schools throughout New South Wales and Queensland to become partners of that campaign with Rotary, to see if they can work like we do here in Ballina, have our high schools and primary schools part of the campaign. The bit we didn't get to share with you was the Love Bites program, which is the educational program that our club supports. And I'll hand over to Robbie for that.
Okay. So we're very actively supporting the expansion of the Love Bites program into more schools. And research tells us that the best way to bring about long-term change is to educate our young people. And Love Bites is a highly successful education program on respectful relationships. It's Australia-wide. Love Bites equips young people with skills to navigate healthy, respectful relationships. I'm a local coordinator for Love Bites and a facilitator, and our Rotary Club, as Dave says, helps fund it through resourcing, program supplies and the training of facilitators. We had some student artwork to share with you to show you the impact of that training for young people. We use their artwork and their campaign materials in everything that we do around our domestic and family violence campaign. That's produced by the students when they participate in a Love Bites program. 100% of our students surveyed believe Love Bites relates to real life. And your club can support Love Bites in your local schools by sponsoring the training of a facilitator, providing funds for program resources, helping fund, a venue for that training to occur and catering. So it's an easy fit for clubs to help support the education of young people so that, in the future, if we have one less perpetrator, we will have one less victim and we will have done something right.
And Robbie, just share, 2 weeks ago, we had a Love Bites facilitator training in Ballina. And we had, how old is Josephine?
Oh, we had 4 Rotarians came along to train as Love Bites facilitators, brand new training on trauma response. That's very much needed in our area, and every area apart, from COVID, but from the floods here too. But one of our beautiful Rotarians is 80-year-old Josephine Saunders from Summerland Sunrise in Lismore. And she participated so well in that training. She got through all, there's online modules that you need to complete before you even attend facilitator training. She got through all of that and participated so well and achieved status of becoming a Love Bites facilitator. So I'm really keen to engage her in the delivery of the program in the next coming weeks.
And she loved it.
She did. She got so much out of it.
So for those that aren't aware, Love Bites, it's voluntary. Facilitators are volunteers that go into the schools, and that it doesn't matter what background you have. And as I say, Josephine, an 80-year-old, and she is so motivated and keen.
Absolutely.
And you're never too old. It doesn't matter what your background is. It's there for everyone.
You bring your skill set with you. Majority of Love Bites facilitators are police, from health, education. They work in the domestic and family violence space in those agencies, but it really can be anyone who has a passion for working with young people and wanting to make a difference and to be able to educate them on what a healthy relationship is, what it looks like, what it feels like, and how, moving forward through their lives that they can, experience that for themselves.
But and I suppose what we would say in concluding is this campaign has helped transform our club. Not all membership growth has come because of this campaign, but many have. Our president-elect, who's been in our club now for 18 months, He's a manager of a BWS in a shopping centre. He saw our purple shirts walking around on Fridays.
For advocacy.
And he asked the question, where are these purple shirts? What's it about? And he found out what they were about. And then he said, I want to be part of it. He come along to one of our Rotary meetings. He joined our club, and now he's going to be our president-elect. So the power of the message, the power of the branding, the power of the shirts. And tonight I very much should acknowledge I have some people online with us tonight. I have Cole Lee and Jody Shelley on here who have been very much part of this campaign, and past Governor Andy. Without those three, Andy Rajapaski, without those three people, this campaign would have never happened either. They've very much been part of this journey. It is a team that takes to do this. But I can speak for we would very much recommend that a club connects with a cause like domestic and family violence. It might be the environment, it might be mental health, homelessness, but by connecting with that cause, collaborating with local agencies, building partnerships, that can help transform your club and make a big difference in your town. So the model's here, but the domestic family violence one, the hard work's done. All the banners and the support material, everything's there in the toolkit.
All thanks to Jody Shelley, who is our amazing visual
makes it very easy to do.
Person.
So I think anything for you, Robbie?
No, I'm all good.
So I'll hand it back to you, Kira, because we're probably over time now.
Well, a little bit, but I mean, that was for reasons beyond your control. Okay, just a reminder to everyone, we do welcome questions. If you could put your electronic hand up, please, or pop something in the chat. But while that's happening, I have a question. One of the challenges facing Rotary clubs these days is a bit of a decline in the number of core organisers and administrators, so like the bedrock of a club. And I note that you guys are here, and you mentioned Jody and Cole, so they're all formidable players in that regard. But you've seen this great increase in membership. Has that been matched by a strengthening of the core? I suppose that's the first part of the question. I do have a follow-up one in a moment.
Yeah.
So how have you fared with that?
Caro, I'd love to say yes, it has, but no. It's the same. I think Cole's there and Jody. I'd say probably half a dozen to a dozen members that carry the load, and there's probably half a dozen other the major players that do really move the club, and then you have some other hard workers that support.
However, everyone comes together.
Yes,
to support what we do.
And that's a good point.
Everyone turns up.
When we have something big on, everyone steps up.
So the second layer your second layer is very strong. You have very few sort of what's referred to as knife and forkers around the place.
Very few of those.
Great.
Yes. No.
We're very fortunate.
Yes. So the things like the walk or other big events we have on, very much you'll probably get 100% turn up.
Fantastic.
But we're like any other club, even though we've got 88 members, try and get a president, secretary and a treasurer. Yeah, it's hard at times.
Okay. You mentioned that you've improved your Rotary education program through the redesign of the club since 2019. What part has that played, if any, in the better participation you're getting from your club members?
Caro, I think what I found coming in as president and sort of working a bit in district, I think anyone that's a doer that likes to see progress and wants to get things done can get very, very frustrated with the blockers or the handbrakes. I call them handbrakes. If you want to be a bit of a mover and shaker, the handbrakes are there, and somehow you just got to move through that. So that was part of the journey, was moving past the handbrakes, and we with our journey through transforming our club, there was pushback. And from senior Rotarians with many years in Rotary, where many of the naysayers and the doubters. It's really interesting. I can give one example of a senior Rotarian saying to me, I'm not comfortable with this membership growth. I don't like it. The club's not the same as it used to be. I don't know these new people that are joining the club. You know, it's not good. And we had a bit of a chat, and then I left it for a few days, and I went back to this person and I just said, look, I think you're being very selfish because you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the way you like your club. But I said, what I'm worried about is where a club's going to be in 5 and 10 years' time, because if we don't take action now, we'll die like a lot of other clubs. Now, because we had an average age well in the 70s back in 2019. So, and you know, to that person's credit, they said, you're exactly right.
Fantastic.
So it's not easy, but it's worthwhile. And I think it's those small steps. Like if you can bring someone around like that, one of the mover and shakers in the club and the doubters, and all of a sudden they become an advocate for you.
Yeah.
But it takes time and energy. But yes, our club was old school, very much old school. But I think proudly say, Robbie, that we're reasonably modern now.
Absolutely.
And
Fantastic.
we're a different club. We are a different club.
Okay. Picking up on that.
Cole is here with us this evening.
Yep. In fact, I was just going to mention, Cole, your satellite club. Cole delivered a fantastic webinar on the satellite. Previously, you know, the main club and the satellite were really partnering on things and doing a wonderful collaborative effort. What part is your satellite club playing these days?
They're a great they're helping us with all our projects, particularly the big flood project we did. They're very involved with the domestic violence. But most importantly, this club, it's just 4 years old. It's a satellite club now with just over 30 members. And they love it. It's interesting. The basis of the satellite club of Ballina Lifestyle is a residential resort of over 55s where I live. And it just came to be that there was people out there looking for something to do in the community rather than just, you know, the normal things that happen in these places. There's plenty of activities here, but there's nothing really people can get involved with the community. So we got this little, thanks to particularly Andy here, who supported me 200% to get this club off the ground, and Davey. We were able to establish it, and it's just growing and growing. We've had our 12th changeover yesterday.
Fantastic.
Just a vibrant club that do different activities in the town. They the latest big project they did was to do poppies in the town for Anzac Day in collaboration with the RSL club. So once again, the satellite club's involved in bringing people in, and you know, they're out there, and every time, I know my wife's part of the club and membership, there's a number of people that are really keen to come along as guests, and hopefully they will join too. Naturally, we need new members in the satellite club because we've got a few 80s there, and quite a few 70s. So it's an old club, but boy, do they bat well above their average, and they're all involved. Every one of those members is involved in some way. It's been a real success story for ballina-on-richmond, and I think I can even go further than that and say District 9640. Just the harmony within that club and what they achieve is quite remarkable, and I'm very proud to say that I was part of it. So thanks, Kira.
Fantastic. Thanks, Cole. I'll have a supplementary question for you too, mate. we talk about old Rotarians and needing to get younger people in. I tend, and I agree with that, obviously, but I flip it round in terms of the mental health of those older people, like the 80-year-olds who are still actively involved in their own way with the Satellite Club. Is it good for their mental health? What impact does it have?
Oh, look, we've seen, well, I've seen and had the feedback from members from the Satellite Club, and we've got a few oldies in our club. We had one of our wonderful members just recently celebrate his 90th birthday, still actively involved in the club wherever he can, outstanding Australian citizen. I think it's a purpose in life where you're not just, you can see yourself doing something for someone else. Giving is more important than receiving, and particularly in community service. And this is what we see time and time again, is just the joy that we can have through Rotary by just giving back to the community. And it's a wonderful situation you can be in, and one that helps so many people. And the follow-on effect has been extraordinary, particularly in this town.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cole. I might go back to Dave and Robbie at this stage because I have a question for you, I think, Dave. Although, Robbie, feel free to jump in if you feel a better place to answer it. I'm talking about corporate partners, corporate members. How have these partnerships strengthened the club? I mean, they're always nice to have, but we have lots of nice to have things that don't necessarily strengthen the place. What about your corporate partners, members?
Corporate members just bring a whole different dynamic to the club. Having like Cherry Street Sports Group or Club, they mightn't come to many meetings, but like whenever we need to do anything, they're there. Like what they did to support the hot meal centre during COVID and the floods. Like you're talking tens and tens of thousands of dollars that they put in to support community. So, we have banks, we have Cherry Street Sports, we have butchers, that's a corporate member. We have hospitality, aged care facility. So it's a very wide mix, but they do bring such a different dynamic, and they bring that business like mindset to the club. Skill sets. Yeah. So I would say they help our club be more professional, very much so. And without hitting them up all the time for donations, they're always there to support you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, please, Stephen.
If I can just make a comment, I'm sure this lady won't mind, but I was at a function the other day, and the strata manager from the Ramada Hotel, which is a big complex here in Ballina, beautiful lady, she came up to me and she said, and they wear purple shirts. I think we saw them there back there, the staff there, big staff. She said, I really want to join your Rotary Club. I don't have the time to do it, but I have spoken to another member, being a corporate member, and he's told me that we can have representatives from that business. What she wants to do is get her staff involved in community service to give them a much stronger base and a much better feel about what they can do in society as they're growing as people, and most importantly, as they're growing in stature within the town. And that's exactly how we started our own structure of corporate membership or business membership, was to allow business heads that didn't have the time to come to Rotary, but yet would, as Dave said, would work in the background for us, but to allow their staff or designate staff to come along to our meetings. And this is what Karen from the Ramada wants to do, and we are just so delighted. We'll be seeing her in the next week in relation to her membership. So, it's a wonderful outcome.
Fantastic. Thanks, Cole. Dave, I think as the a question that I've posed to you in the past, and I'd really like to update it. Has there been any missteps, anything that you've tried that hasn't quite worked out the way? So any learning, because this is a fantastic story, but are there any things that you would have done differently?
Well, Kiro, probably the number one in this journey, being a past governor, like governor last year, is that I just learned to just not take things so personally, and just say everyone's got different ideas and they might not quite see it the way I do, because I'm can be a bit of a bull at a gate sort of thing, wanting to get things done. And certainly that held me in good stead through my governor year, and just sort of realised that. So I think it's more, trying to be more the salesman, and try and just get out there and sell it for its merit. And hopefully the majority of people can see the merit. But as far as the decisions of like what we've done with domestic violence and mental health and the work we've done in those areas, really, no, I really can't say. It's just been a learning experience, and we've just really, a lot of it's just been through our gut, through our skill set that we know through our career, our work role, that we've just really, it's all about collaboration and building partnerships and rapport and relationships. And
It's all about relationships.
it's, and that's what's held us in good stead with building those partnerships with police and NAPCAN, National Partnership with Love Bites, and other partnerships that are being formed. It's all about the relationship. And so that's it's not so much a lesson. It's sort of something that's evolved, I think, that we think that's what we put as number one. It's all about the relationships, and
And that's exactly what it's for within our Rotary clubs as well. It's all about the relationships.
It's a set of relationships.
Yeah.
And take a bit of my own advice and just look at small steps. Where I wanted to get things happening probably far too quickly, and just take it slow and just small steps, and get there eventually. But Kiro, was one thing I was going to share that is interesting, and just to share with the other Rotarians here, is it's when we got to a certain level with this campaign through our community with domestic and family violence, it was interesting. For many years there, we'd run our fundraisers, we'd have a gala ball, we'd have different things we do to raise funds to enable us to do what we do. But for the last 2 years, we have different organisations around the Northern Rivers now run fundraisers for us, for our Rotary Club, to enable us to do our work. So for the last 2 years, we haven't had to do any fundraising for domestic and family violence. And I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars that are now coming into our Rotary Club to enable us to do our work. So that's another indicator that all of a sudden we've reached a point in our community where the community does see the value of what we're doing, and they're now supporting us instead of us giving money away to them. Yes.
So you've gone from being a traditional Rotary money recycler to actually being a point of impact in the community.
And a receiver.
And a receiver of those funds. Yeah. Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you.
And it was the same with the flood project.
Thank you. I have a question for you in a moment, Robbie, but I'll go over to Andy because he has his hand up, and let's hear from Andy.
Thank you, Kiro. And I like to give a lead in for Dave to go beyond what he was saying, because I think past Governor Dave's passion is to see every Rotary Club in every town take on a community cause. And this is only one community cause. But I like Dave to elaborate. Next week, Dave, something exciting is happening. Taking a lesson from Ballina, the cause of no domestic violence is going right across to Queensland. Would you like to just touch a little bit on that?
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy, for reminding me. That's true. Next week in Mackay, some of you might know Michael Buckeridge, past Governor Michael Buckeridge from Mackay. Now, Michael, he's part of the membership team, and he saw what we were doing in Ballina with domestic violence. And Michael thought, right, I'm going to go back to Mackay and do this. Ballina have sort of got the model. I'm going to go and replicate this in Mackay. So from Christmas last year to now, Michael has been able to raise $70,000 through mining around Mackay towards sponsorship for the campaign they're running. Next week, on Wednesday, Robbie and I will be in Mackay for the launch of the campaign in Mackay. They have 12 high schools that are participating. They will have a walk down the main streets of Mackay with who knows how many people, but there will be 12 high schools participating. They've been running, his Rotary Club has been running education units, modules in the school over the past couple of months. The purple shirts, they're everywhere. So Michael's been able to get this up and running in a matter of a couple of months, which I find amazing because it's taken us 6 years to get to where we are. But yeah, this morning in Queensland Rotary clubs have really adopted this well. It's right through central and Queensland and also on the coast, with many clubs participating. It's in New Guinea, have also adopted domestic and family violence campaigns. So yes, thanks Andy. Queensland is just going gangbusters.
I have a question. What's the gender mix of ballina-on-richmond at the moment, approximately?
Yeah, traditionally for many years now we've been about 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
we're just about on the mark. And if I can share this with you too, it's really interesting. Like, not everyone in a club's going to be supportive of a campaign that you do,
Uh-huh.
So there were, a few men in our club that, weren't that keen on it. And they were a bit vocal about it, a few years ago. But it's really interesting how FOMO takes over when, we all wear these purple shirts to the meetings and, everyone in our club has a purple shirt. Everyone
Fantastic.
now. And including some of the men that were doubters to start with. So that's part of the education process about, eventually they do understand.
You create the awareness.
We've created the awareness, yes.
Yeah. To
Fantastic.
kids' beliefs and behaviours. Yeah.
Well, in acknowledging the groundbreaking work that has been done in District 9640 in terms of encouraging a better gender mix, tradition at this time of the presentation to invite the speaker to tell us why they're in Rotary. So, Robbie, we've heard from Dave on that topic before.
Yeah.
Robii Harmon, why are you in Rotary?
Oh, that's a very good question, Caro. I joined Rotary. Dave and I moved to Ballina, and while we're from the North Coast originally, and we'd been away for over 20 years, so we had to, and we'd never lived in Ballina before, so we had to establish ourselves in a new community. I came here on a transfer with my work, and we decided that we would give back to community. We were at a stage in our lives where we had some time that, even though we both still work, that we could give back in some capacity. And Rotary was just a good fit for us to work within our community and make a difference. So we met these amazing people like Cole and Jody, and this club in particular was the perfect fit for us. And we haven't looked back. And and to be able to bring our vocation skills with us and work with those to create impact and make a difference in our community, it's just been a blessing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Robbie. Okay, I think this has been an absolutely fabulous presentation. Yeah, with a little break halfway through, but hey, what's a Wednesday night without a bit of excitement? Let's give Dave and Robbie a huge round of applause for what I think has been an absolute kicker of a presentation. Well done, you guys.
Well done, Dave.
Top work.
Well done, Dave and Robbie. Good, very good.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Top work.
Well
Now,
done, folks. Fantastic.
Thank you, Dave and Robbie, and thank you everyone for being with us tonight.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Kiro.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Good job, Kiro.
And good night.